A lovely good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show of today being the 15th of August 2023. I hope you're having a lovely and beautiful and positive Tuesday morning. Like myself, I'm your host Miriam Kaimba, and of course in studio I'm not alone. I'm joined by my colleague Patrick Soko, where we're going to be taking you for an hour or so and talking about various issues that are happening in our country. Good morning, Soko.
Good morning, Miriam Kaimba.
It's a positive Tuesday.
Always positive vibes is what we thrive on. It's no longer a guess. We have to keep it a positive. Yeah, so we are starting on a positive note and talking about that. We just want to urge everyone to follow suit regardless of the situation at hand. Just keep your positive up. Even in the midst of troubles, if you keep your negative thoughts in your mind, it'll be difficult to overcome those troubles you may be facing this morning. So positivity is the way to go, and always try hard to motivate yourself to make sure that you are able to do things with all the courage and the energy that you need. So we have to always express gratitude for this life that we have, especially in the morning, given that others could not sit through the pass through the night. And today we are here and live and kicking, so we have to always be grateful for that. So this is how the world revolves, but that is notwithstanding the positive energy, because if you have been granted that life, then you have to be positive about it.
Exactly. Anyway, just moving forward, a reminder to our viewers that exactly at 07:30 hours, we will officially open our phone line so that you can participate on some of the stories that will be zooming in. And exactly at 8 hours, we'll be joined by a medical doctor, Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who is going to help us, discuss various matters, various women, Soko, before I say our topic, last time I went to Kamala, you would find megaphones, that confusion.
What do you mean, Machani?
I really don't want to say it. But anyway,
but you have to tell me
why women use various, sexual boosters? Yes. We want to find out from this medical doctor, are they myth, do they work, or stuff like that? What are the dangers? What are the harmful, effects when women use such products? So we need to find out, and we'll be joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who is going to help us, understand exactly why some women intend to do that, rather. Yeah. Quite interesting. Exactly. But right about now, we go direct into our health corner and just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Ma Asambang, and I'm from the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. Yesterday we spoke on hepatitis B, the prevalence of it worldwide, as well as in Zambia. Today we're going to focus on the diagnosis. Hepatitis B is diagnosed via drawing of the blood, and what happens is we test for hepatitis B surface antigen, or also known as the HBs antigen. Once we test and a positive finding is determined, then we do further tests. Some of these tests include an ultrasound, fibroscan, hemogram, or a full blood count, a liver function test, and if someone is HIV positive, we do a CD4 count and a viral load. Also, we do an HBV viral load, or a hepatitis B viral load, because as I mentioned yesterday, that hepatitis B is a virus that causes an infection upon the liver. Now, when it comes to diagnosis, there are times that someone may have a false hepatitis B positive finding on a rapid test. And so what we usually do is we draw the blood, then we send it to the lab for a thorough test. Now, false testing is lower than 80%. In other words, a rapid test is usually accurate when it comes to a hepatitis B test. However, there are times where someone may need confirmation, and so that is when we would take it a step further and do a blood test. Now, what you need to understand is once you're diagnosed with hepatitis B, you're not automatically placed on treatment. And so that is why I mentioned the other tests that we do, because we need to follow you up as the hepatitis B positive individual. When we receive your test results, we have to look for anything that is elevated or lower than normal. For example, the platelet count. Now, platelets are responsible for clotting, and our liver is one of the sole sources of our body clotting or the blood coalescing to prevent further blood loss. And so whenever our liver is affected by hepatitis B, then that also becomes compromised. When it comes to the liver function, we're talking about the ALT, of which if someone has hepatitis B, sometimes that can elevate, and other times it would remain normal, of which we consider that as an immune tolerant phase. In other words, your immune system is only reacting to the virus. What happens is the HBV viral load increases while the ALT remains normal. And sometimes you find that both the ALT and the HBV viral load will increase, of which that is indicative of an immune active phase. And so the general overview of hepatitis B is it starts to mess with the immune system. And sometimes you find that people are able to manage it, whereas some are not. For example, in a patient who has HIV, they may have an immune active phase. Remember, I said the viral load and the ALT will increase in such a case. And that's because the immune system is already compromised. Now, I know I keep mentioning HIV. However, let's also remember that someone who is immunocompromised may also have diabetes. They may also have cancer. And so hepatitis B is all dependent on how the patient is, what their existing condition may be. And if so, will this condition worsen the condition of the liver? Each case is unique on its own. Hence, when it comes to diagnosis, it is not one size fits all. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. There's so much more that we have to learn about hepatitis B, especially in our society. Thank you for tuning in to Camnet TV, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Quite interesting. I hope you learned one or two things there from the doctor. Quite informative. Anyway, right about now, let's go direct into our money market. So we have the United States dollar. They are buying at 19 kwacha 1 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 50 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 24 kwacha 15 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 62 ngwe. They have the euro. They are buying at 20 kwacha 81 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 21 ngwe. We have the South African rand buying at 1 kwacha and selling at 1 kwacha 02 ngwe. One thing I've noticed is that the currency, the rand, it's always traded from 1 kwacha most of the time.
The rand and the Zambian kwacha are twins.
They're twins indeed.
They go hand in hand.
I love that. I like that.
Yes, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Anyway, moving forward, just zooming in some of the headlines that we saw making, some of the stories that we saw making headline in our news yesterday was with regards to a story on the milli meal price. So now, one of the questions that people are asking, will milli meal ever fall down? The price of milli meal ever fall down? Because, you know, people are saying, yes, we did see the previous administration, the time they were having their campaigns, promising citizens that when they are voted into power, a 25 kg bag of milli meal will cost at 50 kwacha, but 2 years down the line, they're almost clocking 2 years down the line, but we haven't seen that. Anyway, let's just get direct into playing this story where some Lusaka-based citizens are calling on government to quickly find a lasting solution to the high price of milli meal in the country.
In recent months, Zambia has experienced public criticism of the increasing price of milli meal and the cost of living. While the criticism is on the ground, others have blamed the UPND administration for failing to control the milli meal and the cost of living situation, and others feel the previous Patriotic Front-led government left a mess. When in government, Patriotic Front member Chishimbaka Mwili claimed the economy was performing well when the prices of the commodity were fetching between 150 and 185 kwacha.
Zambia is between 140 to 150. Malawi is 450 kwacha, 25 kg bag. Zimbabwe is 620 kwacha, 25 kg. Congo is 750 kwacha.
While in opposition, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema pledged to lower the price of milli meal and the cost of doing business. However, some of his senior officials have accused the PF of causing the increase in the price of milli meal, but Lusaka residents have questioned the motive of some government officials, claiming that the previous government is leading to the increasing price of milli meal.
Yamina wakambati PF kwatino ndiye mimi nabu inadengesa kutunga udule iyo ni boza hiyo. Wabweze che vintu. Osa ikapo muntu anachokapo muntu akachokapo ishachokapo. PF si amene jala. Ungosa tizikula 250. Ni September inoka? Yabwela mainzi. Tizapelela pati. Tienda bwati. Ziko yenda kuti.
Futi stinga kale kwino. Tenga unga kuchoka kumakantries kwina like Malawi mambokulisa mwingine ungao mtabatira tena nikaonja tunanja polero mix
wana mandi asanduka majanki chifukwa cha nsima kusoba wana wangona ngona ndo tapisa pisi weki kutapa siko sima saiza siya kwa pisi weki ipo vindu pisi na lapo market wajanjala business nayo yatibu hata kama twana zangu kuta zamba kuja njala yose sasikamu manje batipaya njala ngo wadura baniba ya malile stikwanisa business nayo kulipe na business maoda ya dura saka la bwanji.
And governance rights activist Wesley Mianda believes the UPND administration should not rush to blame anyone, explaining that they should focus on explaining the solution that they are working on. Mr. Mianda says government should bury the past and focus on production that solves the situation at hand.
The issue of accusing PF on the high prices of milli meal does not arise. All we need to do is to go into production of maize. Once we have more maize, and we have more milling plants around, as suggested by the Minister of Defense. That National Service actually will go into that. And other institutions such as Zambia Correctional Services. So these are the institutions that can actually help the government to address the price of milli meal.
But UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa, while addressing the media, explained that the price of milli meal may only stabilize in 2024.
In the turnaround of the year 2024, we should be able to see milli meal price stability in Zambia towards affordability.
Are the citizens patient to wait for 2024? With time, the best response will be known. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet breakfast show, and in the land of hard work and joy. and we continue to see.
I've seen a lot of people saying in the land of work and joy, Muzambia. That's now a slogan that people
are working very hard, but no. We're a gold country. We are an emerald country. We are a copper country. We are a mineral-rich country,
exactly,
but remains poor and failing to provide for ourselves adequate meal so that we can be able to make sure that everyone else can have. Well, the issue of the price of meal will be with us, I think, probably for the rest of the year, because this is a topical matter, and always issues that border on the staple food usually raise a lot of concern, because, you know, Miriam Kaimba, people have just known Akabwari ever since, you know.
Yeah, ever since they were born.
Yeah, so they just know Akabwari. Ngataulile Akabwari taulile. So if you haven't eaten, because it's just like you, Miriam, most of the time you say, I just had to lie, I need to eat this. But what do you mean? you know, serious. Well, you know,
I have certain friends who tell you, I haven't eaten. I'm like, are you sure? He says, I just had rice and tea. But meaning you ate?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have Mshima. So yeah, I understand that, you know, really meal being one of our staple food, people always, you know, rush for it, and you know, if the price increases, that is having a huge impact, because, you know, a family, we have extended families, so you won't find it's not only you and your wife and the children, no, but you have certain relatives that will come forth, you know, to visit you. So the burden of ensuring that every time you pay, every week, you buy meal at a cost of 250 kwacha, pay 25 kg bag, that's costly, because you find that in a month, you'll spend about 1,000. Okay.
Towards meal alone, which was not the case. But at least if you are spending, let's say, at least 500 in a month, as opposed to 1,000. Yeah, that's quite delicate. But yeah, like you said, I agree with you. You know, there are some extended families where a bag of meal cannot suffice for a week, so you need it to buy it constantly for every week, so that you are able to continue having that nshima. So we'll continue on this topic. But you two, our dear viewers, in case you want to also give us your contribution, how much are you buying that bag of meal, a 25 kilogram of meal in your locality, in your constituency, in your ward? How much are you buying it? We also want to understand the estimations. But we are also being assured in that story that probably the prices of the commodity will be reducing as we head towards 2024. But the question is that does hunger wait for anyone?
Anyone, yes.
Yeah. But what are some of the repercussions of that? You know, so we are sending more people into abject poverty.
Yeah.
And we have to see how we address those things. There are people who can afford, probably Madam Kayamba is working and can be able to manage a bag of maybe. But I'm also thinking about, for example, a Uber or pusher. You know, sometimes whose net income of the day may be just that 150.
150. But you know, this has usually affected everyone. You can't say, you know, because of this one as this kind of certain, you know, job, so the impact won't be much on them. I wouldn't want to agree with that, because, you know, every time someone gets something, they have budgeted for that. But every time, if you're going to get your little resources or income and budget toward minimum, which will cost you maybe for a month, it will cost you about 1,015. Trust me, your budget will be distorted, and you'll find that because you won't be able to achieve certain goals that you have planned along the way.
Partly you are correct, because if you see, I'll claim to say, Miriam Kamba, I've increased your salary. Now, you've increased my salary again, you're taking it from minimum. Because now, instead of me enjoying this salary, it is still going back to the more conservative arrangement. I can't even have enough disposable income. So that's the worry, because we understand that, for example, civil servant had a pay rise, but all the same, that has been overshadowed by the increasing cost of living. So you discover that that money still goes to, it still amounts the same things the way you used to spend it, because the prices of commodities haven't been stopping. They're not even holding the brakes, because you see there have been also a determinant factor, which is the issues pertaining to fuel. And every time we are having an upward adjustment of fuel, prices of commodities are also escalating, and that has also been our undermining people's ability to have disposable income that they can be able to utilize. So even other aspects such as financial literacy, when we're talking about financial literacy or saving, it becomes difficult to save money, which areas where it is going, where you have no extra to. So it becomes difficult for you to save. So sometimes you discover that others may be called to say you have a poor saving culture. But sometimes it also varies on the incomes that people have. You know, you discover that by the time you are having this money, at least the bills are already on you. Electricity is not stopping anymore. Pay TV is not stopping anymore, because they continue to increase.
And even rentals are increasing.
Rentals continue to increase. So at the end of the day, someone who has something to sell is someone who is enjoying in this economy, because all you can just do is transfer the cost to the consumer. So, but Miriam, what are you transferring in terms of the cost? Whom are you transferring? What are you transferring? You're transferring nothing. So you're just paying for everything. So I pity you, because you are not even you don't even have a decision to say, I'm going to increase. So whether you like it or not, I need my money. So you don't have anything. You're just getting your money and paying for TV. You are paying for rentals. You are paying for water. You are paying for electricity. You are paying for meal. So I pity you, Miriam. Unfortunately, I have to pity you.
But I think, Patrick, that's why I've said that we'll keep on talking about this issue, so that enough measures are put in place and this is adequately addressed, so that people, as we go towards the end of 2023, 2024, we can be seeing, some improvement. The thing of high cost of living, people do not want to hear about this in 2024. This is what we want to see. We want to see a very huge change.
Interesting, and want to see our friends who have benefited from CDF also making us benefit.
Exactly.
Because I haven't seen a friend that I know, or someone close I know, who's done significant, that I can say, my friend, now that you are well off, can you also seek to empower us? I think that's where we need to head to. Otherwise, probably the CDF will amount to nothing. Because we need to see those who have benefited also now transferring the benefits to others.
And talking about CDF, my fear will be those who have benefited in 2022 and 2023 now. I hope they're not having a mindset that they still want to benefit in 2024. Yeah, because trust me, what will be the reason of trying to empower others? Meanwhile, they're not moving forward. Okay, the idea is to empower this certain of group at this particular time. If they're empowered and they're given the resources, they need to do something that is valuable and empower themselves. And come 2024, they're not supposed to get another empowerment. So they have to leave room for others.
So we want to see Miriam Kaemba Cooperative benefiting.
Trust me, you'll see in 2024, you'll see me, putting up that cooperative, Patrick Soko, like you said, so that people in our communities can benefit.
So let's have a look at these two stories. We play them back to back, where we have a story where we have former Vice President Nevas Mumba says African leaders who failed to champion the interest of the people will not last as people on the continent awaken. Mr. Mumba says, he's also a doctor. It says African citizens have now realized that minerals should be used for their benefit, and leaders who champion foreign interest no longer have room on the continent. Then let's have a look at the story where HIV advocate has advised government to work on various stakeholders such as churches to disseminate HIV messages amid the rise in new HIV infections, especially among adolescents. So let's have a look at these two stories. We'll be back on the other side and want to be taking your phone calls as well as your messages on the Camnet Breakfast Show. And remember to tell us where you are watching us from. Keep it on Camnet.
Africa has finally woken up to define what we really want at this time. Both good and bad people or intentioned people at least agree on the fact that Africa must now become our first and only priority. And I think that, and our only interest, and I think that the day of championing other people's interests or other nations' interests is clearly over. And all political leaders across the continent must get this, because any political leader who fails to get this point will not last in their service of their people. Africans are resolved that the interest of Africa comes first. The day of championing other people's interests is obviously over. This is that moment we have been waiting for to actualize our repeated message that Africa and her interests must come first. African governments, regional blocs like SADC, ECOWAS, East African Community, and all these communities across the continent, and the African Union included, must re-engineer themselves to serve only the African interests.
Despite the progress made by Zambia in achieving 95 unit targets, the country is still facing about 28,000 new infections per year. This may mean that Zambia is not on track to end the HIV/AIDS epidemic as a public health threat by 2030 if strategies to accelerate prevention of new infections are not implemented. Ending AIDS by 2030 is a promise made by Zambia along with 192 other countries in the Sustainable Development Goals and at the United Nations High-Level Meeting on Ending AIDS in 2016. With the coming of COVID-19 pandemic, most countries forgot about other health crises such as AIDS and malaria, among others. According to Health Minister Sylvia Masebo, new HIV infections predominantly affects adolescents.
New HIV infections among individuals aged 15 to 35 years, particularly affecting young girls and women.
A Lusaka-based HIV advocate, Agnes Banda, has attributed this to moral decay among the young generation.
This time most of the girls are pregnant. And you know that when someone gets pregnant or one conceives, it means there was no protection. Which means these children are having unprotected sex. That is the reason, much more reason why they are becoming they're being infected. And apart from that, it's not just the lack of use condom, but again, the morals have just gone down. They are decayed actually. We have no morals in these youths. Because you know, starting from just the way they dress, it's pathetic. Girls are moving on the streets naked.
She has since called for collaboration between the government and other stakeholders such as the church.
We are seeing that as a country, we have politicians, we have the clergy, the teachers, the parents themselves. But we are just keeping quiet, saying, modern what? No. Let us help these young ones. Because if we don't correct this, well, tomorrow we are saying these children are the leaders for tomorrow. When that tomorrow comes, there will be no one to lead because they will all have been dead. We should continue, sensitizing, educating them. And this education or sensitization shouldn't be so casual as we've been doing it. At least prepare messages that will move these children.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting views there, but anyway, let's get to look at this other story where Opposition Patriotic Front presidential aspirant Dr. Chishimba Kambuli has challenged the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to declare his assets and liabilities. Dr. Kambuli rather was speaking shortly after his court appearance yesterday and gave the head of state a 5-day ultimatum in which to declare his assets. Let's get to look at that story. Anyway, yesterday when he appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court, he also did talk about the issue of Milimil and also urging the United Party for National Development administration to adequately address this issue. On the need for Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to publicly declare his assets and liabilities continues as Opposition Patriotic Front presidential aspirant Dr. Chishimba Kambuli gives a 5-day ultimatum in which to declare his assets. Dr. Kambuli said this shortly after his court appearance at the Lusaka Subordinate Court.
Umuntu ngakana okushita declare assets and liabilities as president nishaleiba pantalefu abantu beshibe indalama isa nasho nesho akafuma nasho so mubebe nalibe batu wapapa kalama na bapela 5 days bachite declare my assets na liabilities kaidi bale yumfuati bandalama nombango lwandalama nisho lefilo kweba abantu indalama wakwata umuntu ngaletino kweba abantu indalama wakwata nishi paliefia alechi tama fisakanwa bagwatilwa kesa tweba akitukese batiyo bali bandalama ngamuli bandalama chachi neshukulu tulange ni ndalama mwakwata ifi mwakano kushita declare ine palwandi ndeba titsai that mwakwata olupia nangumuleba. Two things. So Kainde, this is a serious matter.
Meanwhile, Dr. Kambuli has urged the UPND administration to quickly address the escalating price of Milimil. He has also called on President Hakainde Hichilema to quickly move to Kwazi House at State House to cut expenses on his daily movement amidst economic challenges the country is facing.
Balelanda tumutengo wabunga nga wani na nishi ntungulushi tayakwata mano tayakwata capacity ya kuteke chalo. Ilo balelanda efi obunga bwali 120 kwacha. Ile obunga buli 305 kwacha. So nishibale tuwe na wabe natabakwata mano bantu bale baba lipwatu bunga nga bwani na nishi ntungulushi tayakwata mano tayakwata na capacity ya kuteke chalo. So muyebeba mulefu atutampe okubata wakwata mano bantu efe balelanda tatulefu efe bakatwikate atumwatuka bakainde baweshi obunga abantu balechula. Secondly, muyebeba bakainde Hichilema ndelande efe muchibemba bakutubomfwikshe ukutila bakukile ku State House enganda bafilo okwikalako baleki okulachita inconvenience abantu abale yakunchito chelo lyonse ba police na besala emisebo abantu balechero kunchito abana balechero kumasukulu umulando wa muntu mo. Leadership is not about an individual.
Earlier, Dr. Kambuli appeared before High Court Judge Lamek Mwale in relation to a matter he is accused of defaming the former President Edgar Lungu. Two witnesses testified this morning in his defense. They told Judge Mwale that the Bemba phrases used by Dr. Kambuli on former President Edgar Lungu were not insults. Allegations before court are that between the 26th and 27th of August 2019, Dr. Kambuli, with intent to bring the former president's name into contempt, hatred and ridicule, issued derogatory remarks against the former head of state and alleged that he was moving aimlessly and would visit any country whenever he was invited. The court has set the 13th of September 2023 as Judgment Day. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News. Quite interesting views there. We have seen that the issue of Milimil has continued to be a major source of concern, and also we have seen that Dr. Kambuli also did call or rather challenge the head of state to declare his assets and liabilities, and he gave an ultimatum of 5 days there. Anyway, we hope that we'll
But what is he going to do?
I really don't know. So the ultimatum, I don't know what he's going to do. But anyway, that was a challenge that was put across.
But is it necessary?
Katwish Patrick, and I think being a citizen of Zambia, I think he has a right to express his opinion, and that is his opinion. Anyway,
my question is about what is he going to do about it if the 5 days? Because I'm confident that the 5 days will elapse. So.
I think he's going to call upon that, but another thing that we have seen is that when
I challenge you to ask him.
The other thing that we have seen, I'll tell you one incident that we have seen. The politicians who have called, or rather other opposition political parties who have challenged the president to declare his assets. Example is Mr. Sean Tembo, who recently filed a petition before the Constitutional Court. However, that petition did not go through. Maybe I hope Dr. Kambli will take that step as well on taking that petition before the Constitutional Court.
Yeah, probably that could be one of the routes. Now, again, is it necessary for President HH to go to State House?
It is.
Why do you say so? Because I think it is not necessary.
It is, Patrick. That house was, placed, or rather built for presidents. And also we are talking about the country, facing economic challenges. Again, the president moving from one place to the other, that is a cost. Okay, that is a cost that people are looking at. Already we have a petition that is before the Constitutional Court, where Mr. Sean Tembo has also, petition is challenging the same thing and requesting that the president moves to State House. And we did see the vice president, is it last year or early this year, where she said we need to renovate it first, but we don't have that money yet.
Just tapping into your perspective, Miriam. But if he tells you to say, I prefer my house.
Really, Soko? Okay, Soko, let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. In your opinion,
yes.
I want to hear from your opinion. Do you think the president, it's important or necessary for the president to stay at Community House where he is, or move to State House? If we're going to look at this current situation where we're facing economic challenges, do you think the president should stay where he is?
Well, it's a difficult question for me to respond, but I want
your analysis. I want your analysis on that. Just give me a short analysis on that.
Because for me, idea is that we have created offices as the people of Zambia, and that whoever is given a mandate, he should go and occupy those offices. I'll also give you an opinion pertaining to, for instance, we have the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. You do not expect the chairperson of ECZ to go and address the press at the Citizens Economic Commission, CEC offices. They will go and address that at their offices. For example, you don't expect, for example, the Inspector General of Police to go and stay in Chawama. I think there are reasons why they stay around near these facilities, such as State House. Then again, my opinion would be that for me is that the issue of official. I haven't taken time to understand our local laws, but we are seeing that such issues are putting people like Trump in trouble, because probably you've seen that addressing office matters at your personal residence could also raise a lot of suspicion, because people may not be aware of what is happening. And again, that raises a lot of concern that people can be raising a lot of suspicion, because probably Miriam Kaimba, you may be having your own deals at your own residence, or taking files that are supposed to be at the office and putting them into your residence, and that has landed Trump partly in trouble. We also saw the current President Biden also having similar challenges when a document that was supposed to have been found be at the office was actually at his personal residence. So they come a question to say probably people. You may be having your own personal interest, especially when you are utilizing your personal residence. But again, there has been advanced a notion that the house needs to be rehabilitated. And I'm sure we are a country, so it's just a matter of prioritization. So probably they did not prioritize it, because probably if they prioritized it, I know that they could have reserved part of the resources under the 2023 budget, even 2022 budget, to just work on the house. I don't think the touches that need to be done on that house are major. Or later on, if we have made a decision that the house is not habitable, we can work on that. But I think what I understand about houses like Nkwazi House, they are security houses, and it's a security house. So there, it already has everything that is needed for the head of state in terms of security also. And again, I think we are not too sensitive to how we utilize digital systems. So I'm sure Nkwazi House is secured in terms of these digital systems, such as hacking and other EU activities we are seeing, especially emerging in the cyber space. So for me, if you ask me, again, there's been a story that we've continued to interact with the people. The general overview has also been that there's a lot of inconvenience, especially traffic along that road. So again, that is another issue. And we also have also seen people losing lives. Because the motorcade has also, we have seen that people have been bashed there by the convoy. So as the convoy passes, so that has also been an inconvenience on the general public every time commuting. So like also there's been issues pertaining to associated costs, because you have to also not have only security at the State House. Probably you need to also have security at his personal residence. So that is not a question, that's a must. So if you ask me, he also has a choice probably to make his own decision, because that's what he wants. But if people are also saying this is what they want, you understand? And traditionally we have seen that all heads of states have occupied that house.
Yes.
So what is the exception? So all those things come into being, but that was just me trying to analyze the pros and cons of this subject.
Yeah, and anyway, we wait to see the outcome that will come from the court, because we have seen that this petition is before the Constitutional Court, where Mr. Sean Tembo has petitioned the president over the same thing, and he is also in his petition, some of the things that he has jotted down is that, you know, this is costly to the nation, looking at our current economic situation at the moment, and also the loss of life that you spoke about.
Yes, because the police officers have to be lined up throughout the way, and so that it's whether we like it or not, it's a costly undertaking. But is it a cost we have to bear, or is it attainable that we repair Nkwazi House? I think even as media, if it is possible, we can go on a side visit where we look at Nkwazi House, not for filming, but just for our saying, so that probably as we do stories pertaining to Nkwazi House, we should be able to tell these stories on an informed perspective. Probably you may be talking about a house that probably is not habitable, but who are we? We don't know what, but we have been informed by those in authority that the house needs a little bit of touch.
Yes. Anyway, moving forward, Patrick, yesterday we did see millions of dollars being impounded by the Drug Enforcement Commission at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport in Lusaka, Zambia. Gold has also been found on the same private jet that landed at the airport. So as you can see, that.
So if you look at this money, Miriam.
That's dollars, huh?
These are dollars, and you look at the gold. And when we were talking about the money market area. Now, if the gold is living like that, our gold is living like that. Now, if you look at the dollars, the way they are leaving the country like that. See how the dollars are leaving the country. How do you expect the local currency to stabilize? And if we are exporting dollars like that, now that's a question of whether they are also genuine dollars. But if you see, that's not a small chunk of money. Those are huge resources that we are losing out. But who are these people? How do they get in these sort of
exactly. And the gold.
And the gold, look, I think this gold.
Anyway, we hope to get a comprehensive statement from the Drug Enforcement Commission so that they can just highlight to us who are the suspects behind these,
Look at these $100.
Patrick,
the bunch. You can imagine it. How a bunch can
I can see your positivity has increased.
People are playing with money. And we were talking about a land of joy, hard work and joy.
That is hard working.
That is hard working.
But you know, the concern has been if that God was trying to leave the country illegally. The question is how many times, and you know, me in my own perspective of view, if I try to analyze this situation, Patrick, it can be a deal gone wrong. Someone might have, you know,
tipped the DEC.
Now, if it was a deal gone wrong and someone tipped the Drug Enforcement Commission, so that tells you that this always occurs.
I'm going to wait for that story because it should be coming before the courts.
Yeah.
If we are going to, because that's an interesting story we need to get closure on, because it reminds us of the gold mafia that we have been hearing about our neighboring Zimbabwe. You know, Zambia, just like Malawi, Zimbabwe, these neighboring countries are sisters, brothers, and most of the things that happen in these countries also happen locally. And I had my own suspicion about the gold mafia in this country. And I think we are seeing that that is just a testament of what we saw in those clips, Miriam Kamba. Because if you see the quantity of money that is going there, if you look at our gold, was that gold genuinely acquired from this country, and has it been declared by the rightful authority? Is the ZRA also gotten its tax from that gold? We need to understand those details, because it is a serious matter for that fact, because we are talking about
can we just have
the high cost of living.
Our IT personnel, Isaac, just to show that clip again where the DEC seized you know, a private jet with millions of dollars. It's sad, Patrick. All that money.
Yeah.
All that money. And the gold and
look at the way it was sealed, and if you look at the money that is there, those are huge quantities of money. Now, if these dollars are going to be leaving the country via plane, and they are not even in our banking system, then what does it mean? What does it mean for us as a country in terms of us maximizing our economy?
Yeah,
you know. Because those are huge sums of money, and this God, I hope that if they will get a closure with on this case, it should be also handed over to the Bank of Zambia so that we can continue to boost our gold reserves. But we have to understand whether at all this was these dollars were genuinely acquired. They say this gold was also genuinely acquired
before.
Was it declared? Yeah. And we also understand the various aspects, such as was tax paid, the right tax, were they paid to the rightful authorities such as the ZRA? Did they get the mining license from the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development? So I think these are issues that we need to be focusing on. So our country is bleeding, and it is bleeding through illicit financial flows. So when we talk about illicit financial flows, these are some of the syndicates where you see money leaving our country without being trailed, and it goes to work in other countries. Yes. And you discover that we're not getting the right taxes as a country. But how do we foster development? It becomes something that we need to pay attention to and really address and seek to resolve as a country.
Details that we want to find out from the commission is who was the owner of this private jet, where was the money coming from, and going to, you know, this kind of issues. We don't want to see a situation where you know, investigations are cut short and say, oh, blah, blah. We need to be given details, because this is something that has been, you know, blown out in public and everyone is aware of. So it will be prudent enough for the commission, if that time's come, details details are given to the public so that they understand and we do not question certain things if they're cut short.
Given the magnitude of that subject, I'm sure the Drug Enforcement Commission should be issuing a statement by this before the close of today. I'm sure they will be able to update us so that we can bring out the facts surrounding those clips. Because at the moment it's just from what has been captured, and we are just privy to say the drug enforcement has intercepted that. But we have to get to the bottom of this matter and get closer. You too, our dear viewers, in case you want to join the conversation on the Camnet Breakfast Show, you are free to do so. And keep the conversations going on our Facebook page. We are glad to see people interacting and they are giving their opinion on the matter. So give us that call so that we can get interacting on the Camnet Breakfast Show. This morning, we want to hear from you regarding some of the stories we have looked at this morning, and also want to hear from you regarding that story pertaining to God we were looking at. So, but for now, also let's look at another story where Village of Hope school head teacher Shadrach Banda has called on the government and well wishers to help facilitate access to tertiary education for pupils. This came to light when the Lusaka Mad Gear Motorcycle Club made a donation of assorted items worth 50,000 kwacha at the facility that is located in Chongwe district. So let's have a look at that story and we get interacting on the other side. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
This is the Village of Hope in Lusaka's Chongwe district. The place is home to 700 vulnerable children. Just by the number of children on this facility, it is evident that taking care of them is not an easy undertaking. On Sunday, 13th August 2023, grace was upon the children who received a donation of assorted items worth 50,000 kwacha from Lusaka Mad Gear Motorcycle Club. Among the items were blankets and educational materials. Speaking during the handover ceremony, head teacher Shadrach Banda said the donation comes as a relief to the institution that is confronted with many challenges. He also highlighted that access to tertiary education for pupils is among teething problems.
We just hope that this support will not stop here, but it will continue. We will continue coming to support our children. We really thank you. Even our leadership at this institution, they are very grateful for your support. Please continue with this heart and continue blessing these children because they need your support. As you can see, these are the children that they want to do something in life. But without your support, there's nothing that they can do. So we give education up to grade 12. And these children, they have been performing well. So one challenge that we face is tertiary. So our partners, they go up to grade 12. So tertiary is a problem. So we ask if people can come on board and help these boys and girls to take them to tertiary education. That will be a plus to them.
Meanwhile, Mildred Machisa, one of the pupils at the school, expressed gratitude for the generous contribution.
Allow me to express my gratitude to you for this noble visit which you have paid us. Having left your busy schedules just to come and visit us is not that easy. We are really grateful, for it is not your first time being here. We have been together as a family. People might have forgotten what you told them, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. You have truly made us feel loved and cared for because of the support which you have continued giving us.
Brian Yee, spokesperson for the Mad Gear Motorcycle Club, stressed the importance of collective efforts in supporting orphaned and vulnerable children at the Village of Hope.
This is the third time we're here, but of course it won't be the last time. We'll continue to come to visit us, right? And I really appreciate for your welcome and for your presence. Most importantly, we're trying to deliver a message. As a biker, we're not just a biker. We are also one of, how can I say, the family, one of the family. So we would like to deliver the message to everyone that we would like to share the love. to share what we have here and enjoy the life and also deliver the love to everyone. So that the rest of the community, they'll also join us.
The Mud Gear Motorcycle Club members also took time to play football with the children to create a sense of togetherness. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Nikauka ni chikapu cha manzi kali nilibe unga na masha nilibe niopimisa wanaongo nivuta tii zaicho sapati sunko ya mene akalioni muona monga ni boza.
This snuff kind of tobacco, locally known in Zambia as sonko, has for a long time been preserved for the elderly women in society who use it as a purported cure for headache.
Paso hapa niluvera mutulu zunguruka monga na mwamowa naomwa wakaena junta ija yabele inkalubo mwapo lomba ifu akankapepa awe nzendo gona komati mashoka ku brain uku kapena ni mwamene machitira nuona pamene tipepa nda brain yonse iliwa nyosokonezeka mba that's why ni maendo gona mbanka gona mazulo kapena kuma 11 koloko basi nauka na mverako na power nuone pali poto ya nsima unga kulibe maja nchitebwa vana na watambuya njala nati ni peze kuti ndalama.
Now it has become so popular among young women and girls, especially those of their sexually active age between 15 and 45, and its use is spreading like bushfire. The World Health Organization warns that snuff causes oral, esophageal, and pancreatic cancers. It is usually placed in the mouth between the lower lips and gum, with the belief that it tightens their private parts and assists to stimulate their sexual drive.
Manje sungo kaipepa. Kodi ngafundise tupi. Nanga pokukwatira unapepa nsunko. Awe. Iyo ni generation ya abasikana chabeweka. Muntu mulungu mwamene anakupangira ni mwamene umo. Kulibe kuti uchiteso kuli ine kumbali yanga mongati mwamene nafikira so sinionapo mwandini ninkani yawo chabe kosa mvera kwao. That's why vileta na problem manje matupi yao. Muona makansa, muona vamene matenda amene ambiri amene yabwera mtupi y'abantu. Chifukwa chapa vamene bachita palasta tia ibamulowa.
Despite these threats to health, the rate at which women and girls are buying and using it is alarming. The Ministry of Health, through the Acting Chief Non-Communicable Disease Officer Ernest Kakuma, says Nsonko has many health implications for women.
The body absorbs the chemicals through the blood, so it can cause diseases of the blood, and it can also cause diseases of the heart, the kidneys, and it can affect many parts of the body. So we would actually advise our people that use any form of tobacco product, be it the Nsonko, be it the smoked tobacco or any products, to quit. And for those that have not even initiated, we advise them not to start.
With these side effects, a public health policy advocate says it is unfortunate that some people are still using sonko and other so-called sexual enhancing substances, largely due to ignorance.
But that is a misconception, and I think that is the information that needs to go out. You know, there are a lot of people, especially the young people, who believe that vaping is not smoking, vaping is not tobacco, and that's what the industry wants them to believe. Smoking shisha is not a problem, you know, but these are all tobacco products.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
There you have it. Quite an interesting story we were looking at, and we also did the zoom in this story yesterday. And today we have guest who's going to help us discuss that story in detail. But you too, our dear viewers, you can join the conversation on the Breakfast Show. Remember to also preview where we started from, and also get to check. We started with a lot of stories, so you can get commenting on those stories and leave us a message on our Facebook page, and also get interacting with us in studio by giving us that call. We want to hear from you. Remember that we are streaming live on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channels, and Camnet TV as usual is on channel 106 on Topstar, as well as channel 25 on Go TV and channel 274 on DSTV. So we are always glad to hear from you, and to know that you are watching wherever you may be, wherever you may be, in whichever part of this country, especially being in Southern Province, Northern Province, Eastern Province, Wapula Province, Muchinga Province, name it. We want to hear from you. Miriam Kaimba.
Exactly. Moving forward, we now transition into our first interview this morning, where we're joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga, who's going to help us, discuss various issues, among them the side effects of using sexual boosters. Good morning.
Morning, Miriam.
We are glad to have you on
Patrick. It's a pleasure to be back to the station that is not just like an house.
Thank you.
To begin with, Doc, what are some of the side effects of using these sexual boosters? We have seen that a majority of women have this perception that using Nsuko helps them, to warm their body, tighten their private parts, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, the story is very interesting. In fact, it doesn't start with Nsuko. It starts with Flagyl.
Oh.
Yeah, Flagyl. The women are using Flagyl because they believe that it tightens, the private parts. So then from Flagyl is an antibiotic. And so when you insert it there, it reacts. It's not supposed to be put there. Every medicine has a root. So once it is inserted there, it causes some inflammation, some swelling and hardening of the inside. And to them, that is a positive element. But further, it can lead to painful, sexual intercourse. And also it can disturb the natural flora, because in the private part there are bacteria and funguses normally, and they are balanced. So introduction of certain substances there, it disturbs the balance, and you are prone to get what we call vaginitis, that is inflammation of the private parts.
Is Nsunko a sexual booster or a cervical cancer agent?
Nsunko is just a tobacco, grounded tobacco, dried and grounded to minute, yeah. So its action is just whether you put it in the mouth, whether you insert it into the private part. The action is just like what we get from tobacco consumption through smoking. So there are 270 to 275 harmful substances in tobacco. 75 of them are cancerogenic, cancer-causing substances. So now imagine you are inserting this substance into your private part. So it gets absorbed into the blood, and it gets absorbed to the cervix. How do you call the cervix in normal language? The entrance to the womb. Yeah, the lip, as they say. So it gets absorbed there. So it irritates the covering of the lip of the womb, which we call cervix, and later a woman is bound to develop cancer of the cervix. So it's one of the agents that is prominent in causing cancer of the cervix. And women must watch out, because in Zambia we have about 3,000 deaths due to cancer of the cervix per year. Okay, so the factors of use of tobacco, either through smoking or through insertion, has a big role to play in these high numbers of cancer, cervical cancer in our women. Other than that, it gets into the blood, so it can cause cancer of the pancreas, the organ that is responsible for regulating your sugar, cancer of the liver, stomach, and any cancer that we know. So it's quite a dangerous chemical to play with. Now, Other than that, what happens is that some women think that it reduces blood pressure. Actually, it increases blood pressure. Anything with nicotine, tobacco, increases blood pressure because the blood vessels constrict, they become small, and the heart struggles to push blood through narrowed blood vessels. So it's the other way around. It doesn't improve high blood pressure as some are claiming. So blood pressure is bound to go up.
Anyway, moving on, we have also seen, Doc, that not only women are affected by this trend of, for instance, using sexual boosters. Mm-hmm. We have also seen men also falling play to such, because every time, especially when you are moving to Kamwara, say, Mukwana wachimuna, all those things. Just give us a bit of background on understanding regarding these things. Do they work?
You know what I've seen in the world? If you mention sexual performance, you can sell even feces to someone. They will buy. As long as you say it's to do with sexual performance. You can even sell a packet of feces and they will buy. What we've seen with so-called mutototo and what, I don't know, it's different names, is that they actually do not work. They work through a psychological link. You know you have spent money, okay? So you convince yourself that I've bought something to enhance my performance. Now sex is in the mind, you understand? So that conviction, and because of the idea that you have spent so much money, enhances your psychological well-being in the brain. And you produce the chemicals necessary for increased libido, the feeling of wanting to have sexual contact. So the substances themselves could be maybe packets of sweets with what and what, biscuits and what, with some herbs, anything they just pick up and mix. And so, in short, it's a scam. We haven't seen any physical influence, direct, as a result of the so-called sex enhancers, including the ones they claim can elongate your manhood. It is also a scam. Because the first thing, if somebody is selling you something to enhance manhood, tell them, put the thing on the finger, let it elongate. It's the same, isn't it? So if the finger cannot get elongated, why should the manhood get elongated? You understand? So it's a scam. It's just a scam.
Interesting. I also, now taking you back to the subject pertaining to tobacco, there has been, I've been featuring one person, I think I'm at liberty to talk to him. He's a tobacco advocate, you know, and he tells me to say, I want you to put me on a panel with people like even Dr. Mulenga, and you challenge me that tobacco is harmful to my health. And I think I have to also arrange that meeting separately, where I host you too, so that you will just spare your beats. But him, he says, actually, he feels more healthy because of tobacco, and to the contrary, he's enjoying good health. So he's one comrade that I want, I'll mention his name when I put you two both, but he told me to say, I challenge the people you host Soko on the program to tell me what are the dangers of this tobacco, because I don't think, if tobacco was bad to my health, I would have died a long time ago. But you see, I'm an old man and I'm still fit.
Yeah, that's a very interesting conversation that he put up. It's like saying cars do not cause accidents, because I've been driving for 20 years, I've never had an accident, and I've never been injured. So if you are lucky that you have been smoking for the last 50 years and you haven't gotten anything like lung cancer or any cancer in the mouth or the throat, you are just lucky. But many people at the cancer disease hospital in Lusaka, most of them who have been smoking for a long time or using tobacco or insuku, they are lying there being treated for cancer. And the country is spending a lot of money, about 1.2% of the GDP, on treating of cancer-related issues as a consequence of tobacco use. That's what about 1.2 billion kwacha per year, just on tobacco-related ailments. So yes, I'm ready. Let him come.
Doc, let's talk about the use of supplements. We have seen that, you know, every time you wake up, you go in a certain shop, you'll find these herbs and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, this is very, very unfortunate thing that is going on. And usually, again, I'm sorry, Miriam, it's the ladies are more prone to using all sorts of things. The first thing, there are these clinics they call herbal clinics. With a machine, yes, a laptop connected to a small Chinese machine that is purported to diagnose you everything on earth. So the first thing they do, they go there, they pay, they tell them, no, it's only 10 kwacha. They pay 10 kwacha. Then they do what they call a total scan of the body. And then they are told, your lungs are missing. Your liver is missing. Your sperms don't work properly. Your ovaries don't work properly. You not have children. Your blood is too thick and blah, blah. Now, you need to take these. This is where now supplements come in. They give them bottles. I know one of them is costing about 900, just one bottle. And they tell you you have to take this for 6 months. 900 times 6. You can calculate that one. Some are 1.5. And they contain nothing related to what problems they claim. First of all, that machine, if it was working, why don't we use it in the hospital?
Yes.
We don't have such machines. We have scanners, yes, but not that kind of thing that they are using. So now, some of them, they talk to their neighbors. They tell them, no, if you want your sugars to be regulated, you have to go and take this herb. If you have got an ovarian cyst, it will dissolve the ovarian cyst. If you have got a fibroid, it will dissolve your fibroid. So they go around buying these bottles of chemicals. God knows they don't even know the contents in there. It's just word of mouth. Some of the things can be toxic to the liver. Some of the things can be toxic to the kidneys or the brain. They don't know. They come to our hospital when it's too late. Others are taking things like magnesium, calcium, you know, a lot of substances, chemicals, that the body actually requires, but we get them from food. So why would one go in a shop and buy, for example, iron tablets when you are not pregnant, for example, and you don't have anemia? You buy magnesium, you don't know how magnesium works in the body. The body itself is so clever. From the food we eat, it only takes the necessary amount. Now, there are very sensitive levels of these chemicals in our blood, including the vitamins we take. If you go beyond, you create toxicity in your body. So the body picks cleverly from the food. Not too much, not too low, just enough. So the only supplement we advise is the supplement in pregnancy, that is folic acid and iron. Folic acid because we want to prevent central nervous system defects, neural defects, like spina bifida. A child is born with a protrusion of the spine outside. So that can be prevented by folic acid. Iron, they are sharing the iron reserves. Each one of us in the liver, iron is stored. Well, that's where we get for the creation of blood. So once she's pregnant, they share the stores of the mother. So it goes down. That's why we encourage supplementation of iron to pregnant women. That is the only time somebody should be supplemented. The other time is malnutrition. Children with big tummies, sparse hair, brown hair, and you know, very sick children. We supplement with multivitamins because they are not getting enough food. So the point here I'm making is that ladies, just take your balanced diet. Don't go around hunting for supplements. You are wasting your money and you are endangering your health. They look very
We have seen supplements where women would use certain herbs that does it work though? We have seen this, especially when you go to Kamala, you hear megaphones, you know, shouting this, and people, a lot of women flocking to buy these products.
What is your analysis on that?
I have been fighting these stories on my page, the Doctor's File, which I run, because people are trying to convince me that there are some herbs and creams which are made by using herbs, that if you apply them or drink them, your hips will enlarge. Your breast will become firm. Meanwhile, you have got 6 children, right? You want the breast to go back to puberty. Hip cannot enlarge. Once you reach 21 years old, the bony structure is done. Your height is fixed. I will not grow taller. I will grow shorter because I will bend. Not because the bones have grown shorter. So you can't create bone structure by taking herbs. Your hips are lying on the femur, okay? The femur cannot elongate. So what happens is that you might gain weight by overeating. And of course, weight, everything increases. Whether it's hips or the front, the tummy, you develop a patriotic front. Not the party, but you know what I mean. So people assume that if you put on weight, then you have enlarged your lips. Yes, they are enlarged, but it's weight gain, which is a negative. Otherwise, herbs to enlarge hip, to firm your hip, to make the breast firm, do not exist.
And talking about weight gain, we have seen also products that people are selling, especially online. We have seen products where you take this juice,
to reduce the weight, your tummy,
and also for weight gain as well.
Yeah,
is that possible?
Both are nonsensical. Both, whether it is for gaining weight or for reducing weight, both don't work, because what happens is that you take a tablet, whatever claim it is, but when you go back to your table, you have a heap of carbohydrates and sugars and cakes and everything else. That's where the problem is. It is the mouth and the exercise, only 2 things. All tablets do not work. These tablets which they claim can burn your fat, you are just wasting your money. Nothing can burn your fat apart from activity. Increased activity. And the reduction of what is causing that fat is the intake of sugar. Because sugar in the body, it changes to fat. So the use of sugar and the bigger portions when you sit down to eat are the major causes of weight gain. And if you want to lose weight, exercise, control what goes into your mouth. Increase the vegetables, increase the fruits. So my message, what I always tell people, if you want to lose weight, close your trap. Okay? The mouth. Close it. Just throw away the key. You lose weight. Go to prisons. Are you going to find a very fat person in the prisons? No. Why? The intake. And they are working, hard labor and what. You will never find obese people in prison. That's where the key is. Trap your mouth. Close it. Throw the key away. And exercise. Finished. If you want to gain weight, eat and drive yourself to the toilet. You will gain weight. You want to go to the toilet, get on a combi.
Interesting. Well, interesting on the Camnet Breakfast Show. We are discussing various issues pertaining to supplements with Dr. Mulenga, and interesting enough, the conversation is getting me moving me.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we have seen this is a trend that people are saying, Miriam tea. Drink Miriam tea.
Green tea.
Yes.
Yellow tea.
Miriam tea, and you'll be fine. Yeah. So now I also want to talk about obesity. How can people avoid this obesity? Because it is while we've been focusing as a country on communicable diseases such as HIV. We have been talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic was so prominent on a daily basis on our news, and that's what we're talking about. But we forget that there's also this other animal called non-communicable diseases. Now, Doctor, tell us more about these non-communicable diseases, and what are some of the possible ways we can avoid getting to that trajectory?
Statistically, what is happening now, we are approaching the level where non-communicable diseases like sugar disease, high blood pressure are overtaking now slowly the HIVs and the infections, hepatitis and all that. This is the danger of development in our circumstances. And heart disease. So 3, heart disease, sugar disease and hypertension. These are what is now killing us. Even in towns like Lusaka, you find people are just walking, the next moment they collapse. Stroke, high blood pressure. And you start saying, it's a witchcraft, because yesterday he was talking.
Yes.
Maybe we stay.
I think the first one was okay. I think I agree with the first one.
So I know he has been, so heart failure, yes. The heart is fat, it cannot work properly. Just for boom, done. So these are the 3 killers we are having a problem with right now. As we grapple with COVID and HIV, we are facing a catastrophe. What is causing all this? 1, the foods we are eating. If you go to my village, you won't find obese people. I stayed 15 years in my village in Kasama. There was not even a single obese person. Why? We were eating vegetables, natural vegetables, right? Mulembwe, derere, mpua, and all these kind of things. If you eat meat, it's once in a month, maybe once. There's nothing wrong with meat, but overdoing it is bad.
It's bad.
So, the type of food we are eating in town, when you have got a girlfriend or a wife you want to impress, where do you go? KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Hungry Tiger. You call it Hungry Lion? Whatever it is, whatever hungry animal it is. That's why you take somebody. And what do you buy? Junk food. In there are French fries, Zambian fries, with a lot of salt, high blood pressure. And then there's fat a lot, and a lot of spices in there. So you get likely to get gastritis and all this kind of thing. That's what we want to impress ourselves with. Nishi, you have arrived. Mind KFC, junk food. Your husband comes or your boyfriend comes home, or what have you bought? A packet of chips and fried chicken. So the type of food we are eating is introducing in us a lot of fats, a lot of cholesterol. Cholesterol is a type of fat in the blood. As a result, our blood vessels decrease in size. They become narrow. Plus, we take a bit of alcohol also, and smoking. So all these factors together. Plus inactivity, as I was saying. Instead of you walking from here to Chris Corner or Lewanika Mall, you jump on a bus. Have you seen? So inactivity plus wrong eating habits is the major cause of non-communicable risk factors leading to non-communicable diseases. So our message should be control what you eat, increase your vegetables and fruits, increase your activity, and don't go looking for tablets to make you slim. They don't work. Those are gimmicks. If they did work, we would be having them stocked in the hospital pharmacies. We don't keep such kind of things, We don't.
And that is one thing that majority of people do.
Why can't they understand that? If we don't keep it in the hospital, don't use it. Because we are there to treat you. So if there was a discovery of a pill that can reduce your fatty abdomen, UTH should be able to have it, isn't it? But we don't. These things are bought in shops, and this is just business. It's just business, nothing else. People are just making money.
Doc, before you go, you also spoke about some pregnant women in your preamble, but there are a lot of myths surrounding this, and a lot of women, do ask this question: that is it true that when you drink hot tea or beverages when one is pregnant, it can cause the baby to have birthmarks?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Exactly, because when I was growing up, I saw one of our neighbors had a child who has a birthmark, and we were told it's because the mother was drinking
hot tea. Yeah.
Yes, that caused the birthmark. But is it true?
Now, it's a very interesting thing. I've heard it too. Then I asked the people, you know what happens when you take tea? It goes through the throat, it goes into the stomach. And then in the stomach, there's some acid there which acts on it, From there, it is broken down into substances, other substances, water and what, in the liver. That's it. It doesn't go anywhere being hot. It's going around. And the water is passed through the kidneys. There is no relationship with the womb. No connection whatsoever. And the stomach is not even a neighbor to the womb. Maybe intestines, but the stomach is very far from the womb. So I just laugh when I hear such kind of things. Birthmarks are created at the level of genetics, chromosomes. I don't know the science there, we can't explain it here. But that's what happens. It happens when the child is being created and something just goes wrong with some genetic material, then you get a birthmark. That's all. Drink your tea. Enjoy your tea, whether you are pregnant or not. Yeah.
But we also have circumstances, Doctor. We had an interview with you. You did give us a story over the weekend pertaining to the child who was born with 2 sexual organs. And you know, in our traditional languages, what people say is that Nimaloza.
Maloza, it means what?
Yeah, it's a taboo. It's a taboo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they will say no. Banabalo, especially you people from Wapula, Mansa, coming from there, those localities. Banabalo, on Wanda, we are about Wanatukumo 26. All those things, we do see them. But what is the medical explanation of such conditions?
I've been working for about 35 years, right? And mostly I've been delivering babies.
My entire being.
Yeah, through operation, sometimes through operation, sometimes through the natural route. I have seen so many abnormalities. So when people talk that a child is born with 2 organs, female and male, I have seen those things. I have seen births with a child with maybe a quarter brain, you know. I have seen children being born without a throat, without a lot of things. So we understand what happens is that when somebody is pregnant, some people take alcohol, some smoke, some take herbs, you know, to make sure that the pregnancy is okay. Your grandmother gives you some, or mother gives you some. And those herbs may be toxic to the genetic material in the baby as it is growing. Around 16 to 20 weeks, if you take in wrong things, you are bound to have an abnormality. So some of it is because of herbal use, and also even drugs, the same drugs from the hospitals. We always tell women, if you are pregnant, don't ever take anything by the advice from your friend, because you don't know the effect on the baby. Most of the drugs we give for diseases can affect the multiplication of cells, and they are coming out properly as the baby is growing, especially before 20 weeks. Around that, that's when the nervous system is developed. And if you mess up with something going in there, you get problems, you get abnormalities, because they affect the genetic material as it is, you know, quickly, you know, multiplying. So that's where the problem is. It's nothing to do with Maloza, you said? No, it isn't. It's not witchcraft. It's not anything else that the mother or some people from somewhere from Luapula said, like they send to Tulumba or something like that. No, it's just chromosomal problems.
But what's the implication? Because like the story we did of the same child, you'll find that the mother, she was worried that she needs the child to undergo operation as soon as possible, fearing that there might be certain complication later on in future if the operation is not done as soon as possible.
The child can never get sick by having abnormal organs or having double, you know, female and male. It won't get sick. It will grow like that. So that's not the danger. The danger is the psychological aspect to a developing child. We want to attend to them before they start being aware of their bodies. Because once the child becomes maybe 15 and you haven't done anything, they start looking at themselves. It confuses them psychologically. They get traumatic traumatic effect. It creates traumatic effect on their psychological development. Because how is the child going to identify with who is the child going to play, females or males? So it has to be sorted out. The approach is doctors will examine this child and check, has it got ovaries inside? Has it got a uterus? So if it has a uterus and ovaries and there's no testis anywhere, even inside, because sometimes testis can be inside the abdomen, then we shall preserve the female organ and remove this extra one, because it is not supported with inside for future, childbearing. So the operation is done to remove what is not necessary among the two. You compare. If it's you find that there are testes somewhere, whether they are abdomen, we can descend them somewhere and create a sac, scrotum. This is plastic surgery. And then you remove the unnecessary organ, so that the child, when the child grows, it will identify with only one sex and not confuse the child development psychologically.
Doc, as we are coming towards the conclusion of our program this morning, I know you did, mention that these supplements that women and men eat together, majority of them buy in our city, the CBD, do not work. They are fake and stuff like that. Do you think, in your own analysis, do you think this is a time that the authorities should come in place and ensure that, they regulate these things, and those selling, they're put to tax?
Because, Doc, before you respond, because we also see sometimes people would package something like a drink and claim it as a lot of medicinal purposes. And when people are actually getting it, there's a certain drink when people are getting it, actually they do get drunk.
Yeah.
And this same drink say, it heals liver problems and everything. But if you even taste the same brand, it is just like chibuku. It's actually alcohol, fermented alcohol. So you'd wonder to say, but how is this drink? And they're saying that it is able to heal many diseases.
Yeah. You see, our greatest problem, let me tell you something. If you go to the markets, you find a lot of bottles and rules and all sorts of claims. Take that to London. You only spend 5 minutes at the market. They would have arrested you and prosecuted you, because they will first ask you, where is your license to produce this one? Where are the standards? Which laboratory tested that this is safe? Within the same day, you'll be arrested. So all these marketeers who are selling herbs, whether it is in town, central district, CBD, or markets, should be arrested, so to say, and prosecuted. Because we have ZAMRA, okay? We have Health Professions Council. How does a country allow people? Oh, you remember the story? I think you ran the story also. This fake doctor who injected the contraceptive.
Oh, yeah.
We were just winding it up yesterday.
And what happened? Amputation.
Amputated, yes.
The guy injected something that, damaged the circulation, the blood circulation. And if there's no blood circulation, the limb dies. He called himself a doctor. And if we look back, he must have been doing that. But this one was unlucky. He must have been making money without qualifications, had this place where women were going. So our organs are not doing enough. We are not going around and getting rid of these people. Why do we allow marketeers to sell herbs, for example, which they don't? If I ask a marketeer selling a bottle that treats all diseases, I ask, what is inside? She doesn't know. How long does it stay in the body? Doesn't know. How does it get out of the body? Doesn't know. What are the side effects? Doesn't know. Kulani mankwala. So, this is the problem of our bodies are weak. We need, okay, let me tell you something. If I became somebody, I'm not anybody, but if I became somebody today, they will be out like the way we've taken out marketeers from the street. That's me, I would move into markets. All those things will be confiscated. And the people should be charged, because they are bringing a lot of harm to the country. One doctor, created what he called PHT. Okay? PHT, he was claiming that it would treat a lot of things in the body. Now he has been moving around, an educated person, a PhD holder, but not in medicine. So people are believing him. We got hold of that, contacted ZAMRA. He had a branch. You know, he was sending these things all over the country from Lusaka. He had a factory there. Contacted Zamra. They moved in because we complained. This guy is cheating people. So much money he was making.
And was he also seeing adverts on TV?
Yes, there were adverts there until we got wind of it and we reported that. The guy was arrested, taken to court, and we have not seen any activity anymore. We haven't seen the so-called PHT, he was claiming it can treat COVID and blah, blah, blah. So he made a lot of money. So it's both us to be aware of what is happening in our country and take some measures, but also the organizations, you know, which are supposed to be responsible for this, I think, are sleeping, to say the least.
We'll try to wake them up.
You are the journalist.
Indeed.
Help us.
Exactly, indeed. Doc, it was a very wonderful discussion to have you on set, you know, and just, you know, highlight us and give us up to speed with exactly why women use these sexual boosters and stuff like that. But we're now aware that all these things are fake. Please don't buy Soko, don't buy things to reduce your...
I was going to buy something
weight.
to regrow my hair, but I said no.
I'm also looking for something to make my hair black.
We can buy dye for a week.
No, I need herbs.
Anyway, quite interesting. We were discussing women's use of sexual enhancing concoction and supplement use. We were joined in studio by Dr. Teddy Mulenga. But right about now, before we excuse the screen, as Patrick always put it, let's get to look at a story of where the Lusaka Magistrate Court yesterday sentenced a self-proclaimed medical doctor to 3 years imprisonment for administering a fake birth control on a client in 2022. A self-proclaimed medical doctor who administered an unknown substance on the left arm of this 31-year-old Nancy Musonda on pretext that it was family planning has booked himself a 3 years jail sentence following a judgment passed by the Lusaka Magistrate Court Monday morning. This morning, August 2023, Magistrate Crispin Hampungani found Shadrack Kankandu guilty of causing grievous bodily harm on Musonda. This was after ruling that the prosecution had lamentably failed to prove the offense of malicious administering poison with intent to harm, which led to the victim having her arm amputated. The victim is, however, not pleased with the outcome of the case.
Bazamanga for 3 years, manga. Then ne family yawe yaba bantu Dr. HH sinaone polo ko umozi palipo amene zibalo ko umozi nangpamene nze mu hospital sibanabwerepo nangoni kuniona nangoni yamankwala even nangoni apa ma transport amene ni chosa sibeve benze kuchosa palipo nangumozi amene tiziwa sibazibapo na even family yanga so manje apezeka wajaja for 3 years sinamvelepo kuti bakambapo nanguva compensate iyayi so siniziwa manje kuti nzazisunga bwanji siniza mwenza sisungira chifuka ine pano penili vanisambika chapi sininga sambe ngati niliponeka sininga pike ngati niliponeka siningadi ngati niliponeka.
She is now seeking compensation.
So mai sinza kuti nzazisunga bwanji nezo chetekera kuti bazanifunza chamene nifuna kuli baja bantu chanenzo embekeza kuti vanitane nibauze venifuna chanenzo ufuna compensate amene zanitandizako mukuzisunga kwanga pakulemala kwamene vanile malika.
Pamene alili apa nditomuwashira kwambira kumapandi nditomuwasha ni mai wake kupyanga ndini mai wake bonse ndini mai wake manje ine nadabo vanidabwisa vakoti kuti vamulipire kumwana uyu pakwanja kwamene alimala manje azazisunga bwanji vana pakuti nini na mabizinesi palipo chamene namverako chamene vakamba 3 years amene vamuchacha yachepa 3 years silingana na kwanja dandaula ine mai wake 3 years yachepa kulipe chamene vapasa po mwana chili chomvi ero vamumanga 3 years mwana wanga alimala sana alimale 3 years azamba kukudya manje uyu mpaka imfa mpaka na mamanda manje pamene vapingula ni vichani.
During trial, Nancy Musonda, a mother of 5, had testified how Shadrack Kankandu, who purported to be a medical doctor and called himself Dr. HH, injected an unknown substance on her left arm on pretext that it was family planning, further disclosing that she was charged a 20 kwacha for the same service. It was on the 11th of August 2022 when the said incident occurred, But a few minutes after taking the said family planning injection, she started feeling bad and later her arm was amputated. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News. A very sad situation there, but at the end of the day, we're glad that justice did prevail for that woman. Anyway, she is seeking for compensation. We hope that indeed, when she takes a matter to the Lusaka High Court, she will be compensated. Losing a hand in such a manner is quite a sad and painful situation. And where earlier on we were joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, where we were discussing or rather looking at side effects of using sexual boosters. But this is where we come to the end of our program this morning. Please do make time to join me, Miriam Kaemba and Patrick Soko, tomorrow the same time. For now, it's bye-bye and stay blessed.